Amid accusations that he sexually assaulted two women, Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax released results of a polygraph test as proof, he says, of his innocence.
Can you really cheat a lie detector?
Is WVEC Channel 13 the best news station you ever worked for?
Yes.
The shocking truth about polygraphs and their flaws will leave you questioning everything.
A polygraph examination is an investigative tool to assist the detectives in getting conclusions on cases.
Don't miss out on this eye-opening story. Watch now.
The polygraph examination accounts for general nervousness. It does not work off of being nervous or not nervous. Is your name Chris?
Yes.
Lie detector. In 1921, John A. Larson invented the polygraph, a device meant to detect lies by measuring physiological responses like heart rate and blood pressure. It became a tool for solving crimes, yet soon revealed its flaws. The polygraph doesn't measure lies directly. It tracks stress, which can be triggered by many emotions, not just deception. Colin Pitchfork was a notorious example of someone trying to cheat the system. In the 1980s, during his investigation for a double murder, Pitchfork used controlled breathing to manipulate the polygraph results. But despite passing, he was later caught with DNA evidence. Another case was Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer, who passed polygraph tests using countermeasures like biting his tongue. But eventually, he confessed to 49 murders. The polygraph's inaccuracy led the U.S. Supreme Court in 1993 to rule it inadmissible in court. Today, new methods like fMRI are being explored, but the polygraph remains a part of criminal investigations, despite its limitations. Countermeasures. In the world of lie detection, countermeasures refer to techniques used by individuals to deceive the polygraph, manipulating the physiological responses the machine relies on to detect lies. These methods can be surprisingly effective, challenging the idea that the polygraph can always tell the truth. One of the most notorious cases involving countermeasures was Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer. Ridgway used various tricks, such as biting his tongue or controlling his breathing, to alter his heart rate and make it appear as if he was telling the truth, even when he wasn't. Similarly, Colin Pitchfork attempted to manipulate his results during his investigation in the 1980s by using breathing techniques to calm his body's response. He managed to pass the polygraph, only to be caught later through DNA evidence. These examples show that while polygraphs are a tool used to detect lies, skilled individuals can use countermeasures to deceive the machine, raising doubts about its reliability. Polygraph limits. Polygraphs, despite their widespread use, have significant limits when it comes to detecting lies. The device measures physiological responses, heart rate, blood pressure, and skin conductivity. But these can be affected by various factors, not just deception. In the case of Colin Pitchfork, he passed a polygraph test by using controlled breathing techniques, manipulating his physiological responses. This highlighted a critical flaw. The polygraph can't definitively measure deception, only changes in the body that could be caused by stress, anxiety, or fear, even if the individual is telling the truth. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled in 1993 that polygraph results were inadmissible in court, largely due to these limitations. Over the years, research has shown that polygraphs are not always reliable, and they can't distinguish between truthful individuals who may be nervous and liars who might remain calm. This raises important questions about the effectiveness of polygraphs in criminal investigations and legal proceedings. Foolproof. Is the polygraph truly foolproof? The answer, as evidenced by many cases, is no. While the device measures changes in physiological responses, these can be manipulated by skilled individuals who know how to control their reactions. One of the most famous cases is that of Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer. Ridgway was able to deceive polygraphs by using countermeasures like slowing his breathing or clenching his muscles to hide his anxiety. Despite passing multiple polygraph tests, he went on to confess to killing 49 women. Similarly, Colin Pitchfork used breathing techniques to pass his polygraph during the investigation for a double murder. Although he fooled the machine, he was eventually caught through DNA evidence. These examples show that while polygraphs are a useful tool, they aren't foolproof. People can learn to cheat the system, making the polygraph less reliable than once believed. Court ruling. In 1993, the U.S. Supreme Court made a landmark decision regarding the use of polygraph results in court. The court ruled that polygraph tests were inadmissible as evidence due to concerns about their reliability. This decision was based on the recognition that polygraphs do not provide definitive proof of deception, and their results can be influenced by many factors, including the person's psychological state. The ruling was a significant blow to the credibility of the polygraph in legal proceedings. It acknowledged that while polygraphs can measure physiological changes, they do not necessarily indicate lying. As a result, their use in criminal trials became heavily restricted. This decision has shaped the modern understanding of lie detection, with courts now emphasizing more reliable evidence, such as forensic analysis or eyewitness testimony, over the results of polygraph tests. Psychological impact. Polygraph tests don't just measure lying, they also capture psychological responses such as fear, anxiety, and stress, which can significantly impact the results. Many innocent individuals, nervous about the pressure of the test, might experience increased heart rate or elevated blood pressure, leading to misleading results. For example, Colin Pitchfork used controlled breathing to hide his anxiety during his polygraph test, which allowed him to pass, despite being guilty. His success demonstrated how psychological factors, like fear of getting caught or the stress of an interrogation, can alter the body's physiological reactions. People with conditions like PTSD or anxiety disorders might show signs of stress during a polygraph, even if they're telling the truth. This reinforces the point that a polygraph measures emotional and physiological responses, not necessarily deceit, making the test far from foolproof. Alternative methods. As the polygraph's reliability continues to be questioned, researchers have turned to alternative methods for detecting deception. One such method is fMRI, functional magnetic resonance imaging, which measures brain activity. Scientists believe that certain areas of the brain light up when someone is lying, but this technique is still in its early stages. Unlike polygraphs, which track physical responses, fMRI aims to directly observe brain functions associated with deception. While promising, fMRI has faced its own challenges. Studies have shown that it can still be manipulated, as people may be able to alter their brain activity with practice. Another alternative is voice stress analysis, which analyzes minute changes in the voice that could indicate stress or deception. Although still being researched, these methods aim to overcome the limitations of the polygraph by providing a more precise measure of truthfulness. However, much like a polygraph, they are not foolproof yet. Scientific skepticism. Despite being used in criminal investigations for decades, there is widespread scientific skepticism about the accuracy of polygraphs. Studies have shown that polygraphs are not reliable enough to serve as definitive proof of deception, and they are often challenged in legal and scientific circles. In 2002, a study conducted by the National Research Council found that polygraphs are only about 60 to 90% accurate, and they can produce false positives, meaning innocent people may be wrongly flagged as liars. This research cast doubt on the polygraph's ability to distinguish between truth and lies with any certainty. Moreover, the American Polygraph Association itself acknowledges that polygraphs do not provide conclusive evidence of deception, further highlighting the limitations of the technology. Despite this, polygraphs continue to be used in various settings, but they remain under heavy scrutiny from the scientific community. Deception and stress. Polygraphs measure stress responses, not lies directly, which raises important questions about their effectiveness. Stress can be caused by many factors, not just deception. Individuals who are nervous, anxious, or under pressure may show physiological signs similar to someone who is lying. This creates a significant flaw in the polygraph system, where innocent people can be flagged as liars. For instance, Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer, passed multiple polygraph tests by using countermeasures, which he learned to control his physiological responses during the test. His ability to manipulate his stress levels highlights the fact that stress, rather than deception, can trigger polygraph results. Similarly, people with anxiety disorders can exhibit elevated stress responses even when they are telling the truth, undermining the polygraph's reliability in accurately detecting deception. You won't believe how far people go to manipulate the system. Stay tuned for our next video. How the Mafia manipulated law enforcement for decades. It's a must-watch. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more jaw-dropping stories you can't afford to miss.